Of course, it's ordinance on the passing the first reading of the budget. This will be the second reading momentarily. But first, there is a public hearing. If there's anyone here, I don't see anyone here that has any questions about the budget, this is the time to do it. So, seeing no one and hearing no one, we will close the public hearing. And we will talk about the amendments, but quickly, and we'll vote on the amendments first. But just quickly, I know that I think Dr. Clough was here. Dr. Clough was here the last time.
No, I was not here the last
Okay. So I'm not going to go over the line item budget, but before we go over the amendments, I will give you briefly kind of what has took place. The penny brings in $9,640 is what the net penny value brings in to the city. We voted and approved on the first reading an 11-cent property tax increase that will bring in projected $106,040 to the general fund. We turn right around and the majority of the general fund increase, the increase will go for 4% employee increases and salaries as recommended by HR Solutions that we hired to do a wage study. And that was the minimum that she said that we needed. And to be quite honest with you, I looked for more. It's just not there. It's just not there. So that talks just a little bit about general fund. One of the concerns that I want to express, the concerns that I have, and I'll pass it on for you. You can share the concern with me. Is the public safety building? We have just outgrew the public safety building. Now with full-time firemen and the additions that we have added on, both male and female, sleeping quarters are needed. On the police side, they're sharing offices for their detectives, and some that would look like a closet, just to be honest with you. We're probably going to try to downsize the evidence room to make more room. We are having to have city court in a county building at no cost at this time, but that could change. And so we are in need of some property and also in need of a building. Now, just to guesstimate, we looked at I had a local contractor to come and talk to me about putting another bay on the fire department side, adding a courtroom similar size to this with a couple of offices in it and a restroom. Came back to about $2.5 million. So a new building, you're looking at about $12 million. Building without the property. So I think that that's a focus that we have got to look at, and it's a real issue. Obviously, we're going to have to get through what we got now. More revenue, for sure, on the sales tax side is what we're looking at, and we hope that the retail coach or other entrepreneurs that want to come in and invest in Livingston will do so. But that's the real concern in the general fund.
Curtis, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How many square feet were you looking at? You said you were looking to add on to the fire department side, and it was gonna be like $2 million. Are you correct?
Yes, sir, $2.5 million. What that would have did, was it would have added a bay on the end of the building where you could have another fire truck. On the other end, it would have loosened up some offices for the police department, and we could have had city court in a city building like we should be doing anyway. So, but those offices that would be inside that courtroom, so to speak, those offices would go to the police, or excuse me, the fire department, that would have more privacy in their sleeping quarters.
So about how many square feet would that have added? Just
Uh,
ballpark.
Yeah, ballpark, about 2,500.
Well, that's about 3 or 4 times the going rate per square foot for construction. I mean, that, you're talking like $750 a foot at $2.5 million. That's crazy.
Well, that's why we're not doing anything right
Well, but
now.
I'm saying
Yeah.
that estimate doesn't even sound real world. I mean,
Right.
Bruce, you, in banking, you know, people don't bill for that much money. That's way high.
Yeah. Of course, it would go for bid. If we decided to do it, it would go for bid. But that's what a local contractor.
Okay, so if we do a new public safety building, I know this is probably not the place to be really spending a lot of time on this, but how many square feet do you figure ballpark for a new public safety building?
20,000.
Okay.
20,000 square feet. I think that at the end of the day, you're gonna have a building that looks a whole lot like the Millard Oakley County Services building, with the police department being on the ground and the fire department being on top, with sleeping quarters, kitchen,
So is this adding on to what you got or putting it in another location?
another whole new location.
What happens to what we got?
Well, we'd have to make that decision. We could sell it or we could use it for something, and then, you know, you possibly could leave the police department over there and build a fire department or vice versa. I mean, there's options out there.
Do you have any idea what the Oakley building for the county cost?
Uh,
Per foot?
I did, but I didn't
Okay.
write it down. They got a pretty good gift.
Well, that's probably, I mean, it's really nice, obviously, but a public safety building, especially when you are adding fire truck bays and things like that,
Right.
that's relatively cheap square footage. I mean, it's just open. I mean, you got your doors and everything, but 20,000, even at $300 a foot's only $6 million.
Right.
So I think those numbers that you've been given are exceptionally high.
And the water, and like I said, that when the time comes, that obviously that would be out for bid. The plans would be engineered and go out for bid, and everybody would get a chance to bid on it.
Forgive my ignorance, what does the 11 cents get us?
Can you push the button?
Yes, I can, sorry. What does the 11-cent increase get us up to? What would be the new number? What are we today?
$1.71.
Okay, thank you.
$1.71 would be what we're at today, and I've got, I think I handed these out last time, Doc, I don't think you got them.
But, this is what the property values if you have 50,000 and how much additional it would cost.
Okay. Thanks.
So no other big significant changes at all in the general fund. 5 cents, 5% water rate increase across the board for water customers in the city and water customers outside the city limits. And I simply can tell you the reason for that. According to our numbers that we have looked at when it comes to pipes, gaskets, about 20 to 30%, if not higher, materials. And again, that's kind of lowballing it there. But 5% water rate increase go into effect December 1. No changes in the natural gas. The big ticket items, if you want to say big ticket items, we are getting and we've had it on the books now about 2 years, is a garbage truck, $400,000 garbage truck that we are in need of. All right, Joel, I'll turn it over to you for the amendments, and then we'll vote on the budget, okay?
A couple things on the front end. I want to say that the budget amendments affect the 22-23 budget, and it has no bearing on the 23-24 budget. It's only presented on your 23-24 budget for information as to the original budget and the amended budget. Secondly, I want to say that we're amending the 22-23 budget simply because to authorize the expenses that have exceeded the original budget. So this is just a mechanics to authorize what has already been spent and notify you of what those accounts are. Thirdly, the projected column in the second column is unusually very projected. This year, you're undergoing currently a software change, so we don't have final projected numbers. So a lot of these are work in process, but I believe they are very good numbers. It's just not as close as I'd like to have. Next is, you're responsible for the budget approval system with Tennessee. Is you're approving the major categories, such as governmental or general government, public service, public safety, and I want to say that because of the tweaking, or we need to do more tweaking on the line items within these categories. For instance, one that really sticks out is your intergovernmental revenue on page 1. You'll see that it has 1,536,504 is a projected number. Within that category, so far we're only able to say that Tennessee Other is going to be $728,649. That's a projected number based on what's already there and what's forecasted yet come in. Within that category, that number is going to move up to state grants and some other like corporate excess tax does not currently have a number. That needs to have a number. So within the categories, we want to move some things around. But as far as the overall number for that category, that should be a good number. So I'll ask that you allow us to do that, and we'd like to take the budget with us and give you a pretty copy when it's nice and done, as far as the amendments. I'm open to any questions. Just to hit a few big items. Total revenue projected to be $5.6 million. Original budget called for $4.7 million. So there's some large line items. Miscellaneous income, that's another one that really needs to be detailed out. We've never turned in a miscellaneous income of $161,000. That will impact some line items above in the categories above So we want to move around a little bit. Overall, your projected income is substantially more than your original budget. As you have more income, you have more expenses. So the very last page, page 4, the last page of the general fund, you've got a net change in fund balance is projected to be $490,000, which is an increase in your fund balance. Again, I always remind you, fund balance does not mean cash. It's just a net position of what you own minus what you owe is equity, and you're in a strong position. That $490,000 is a projected number. The original budget called for $244,000, which is a good number anyway. We think it's going to be better. The amended budget shows a negative. That doesn't mean it's going to be negative. We just have allowed additional line items to have remaining budget available just in case it's necessary. If there's adjustments between the funds, adjustments after for accounts payable and such that we haven't foreseen, you're allowing those expenses, but it's not going to come anywhere close. It's just a protective measure. That's going to be the same with every fund. Street is the next page on page 5. The increases in the budget, 164,000, decrease 122, so it's not a significant change there. It's the same for every fund. What kind of questions can I answer? Okay, with that, I'll give it back to the mayor.
All right, so we need to vote on the amendments that Mr. Joel Parks, or Certified Municipal Finance Officer, just talked about. Hearing no questions for Mr. Parks, I'll entertain a motion for the budget amendments.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve the budget amendments by Vice Mayor Ken Dodson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman John Clough. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Phillips, please.
Vice Mayor Dotson,
Yes.
Alderman Clough,
Yes.
Alderman Elder,
Yes.
Alderman Dale,
Yes.
motion passed.
Motion passed. And just for the record, we do have 2 board members that is absent, but we do have a quorum. 4 out of 6 is here, so we do have a quorum. Now this is to pass the 23-24 fiscal year budget. I need a motion to pass that.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman John Clough. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Ken Dodson. Any discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Phillips.
Alderman Clough,
Yes.
Alderman Elder,
Yes.
Alderman Dale,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dotson,
Yes.
motion passed.
Motion passed, no further business. Our next meeting will be due to July 4th. We'll be here July 10th. It'll be Monday, July 10th, 6 o'clock. Thank everybody for coming out. We're officially motion to adjourn. Motion by Ken Dodson, second by Rex Dale. All for the motion, let know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. We're adjourned.